everybody. I'm here with my assistant, Mr. Paul, and we are about to start the show. Welcome aboard, everyone. And yes, a little different. Mr. Paul was on the chair sleeping, and I was like, I'm going to get things in a different angle so that, we don't see the pirate flying much, but so I'll put it like this for the clock over there. So welcome aboard, everyone. And we are live once again. So let me just see, pretty weird. Usually when it's stormy, it's warmer, but this weekend is going to be like minus 20, winds and storm. So Mr. Paul saying, hey, coming back here. Hey, man. So nice to see everybody here. And of course, always nice to do these shows on Fridays. Everything looks normal, so I guess we're going to start the show now. There's a beautiful chat room with magnificent people to help out if you want to join in the fun and have a nice chat with everyone. It's always kind of cool to have everybody there. So nice to have everybody on board and say hi. And let us know where you're from if you have never participated. It's always nice to see where everybody is from. Mark Cope, hey there, nice to have you here. Richard Cook from the UK, nice to have you on board. TOC, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, Louisiana, nice to have you on board. Matambale from Colorado, nice to have you here. We have Sean Fahey, nice to have you on board. We have Matambale, snowing Colorado. It's going to snow here just like really a lot this weekend. It's really going to be, they're expecting that it's going to be a big storm that we're going to have this weekend. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board, says Amphetamine Radio now on 6925. Let's check that out. 6925. Anything here? An upper sideband? Nothing much. I don't see anything here. Don't see anything here. But we'll keep an ear open for any pirates. Spain and Nigeria, and maybe one other fighting on 9690. Richard Cook's got Spain on 9690. There we go. Nice to have you here. And what do we have? It's the Spanish transmission 9690 is from Spain. Absolutely. Direct from Spain. No, it's not in Florida. It's really Spain. Tio. Absolutely. Kevin Wood, nice to have you here. 9690 booming into Nova Scotia. Sakura DX, good morning. Nice to have you here from Japan. And what else do we have? Matambali says Radio Exterior España is 9. But Voice of Nigeria fighting a good fight. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Let's go down. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue. Nice to have all of you here. Yes, DX did steal my chair. That's why I was pretty much in this chair. I don't know if he's going to go back there. If he doesn't, we'll go back to the main chair. But, different angle. Anyways, it's kind of fun. Artist Alecrafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you here. Page Master. Nice to have you on board. Did you sort out the FLDG stuff for decoding? Neil Toombs. Nice to have you on board. Neil. M0CJM. Andy Tobin. Nice to have you on board. Mr. Quick. Nice to have you here. Mugridge, nice to have you here. No, he's not really a small cat, I can tell you that. Marco's got KNLS 11965. Well, that's at this time it's Madagascar. What is it? It's the African Pathways Radio, I think, at this time, 11965. Let's check out the signal here. Yeah, that's a pretty good signal here.
Census figures from science show that the world population has exceeded 7 billion.
So that's the African Pathways Radio. And that's from Madagascar Relay, absolutely. Radio Telescope, nice to have you on board from the UK. Chuck Jones, nice to have you here from Chicago. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here. Brian, VE7AUL, VE7011 SWL from the West Coast. British Columbia, Canada. Michael Langer, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here live. Hey, David Snyder, nice to have you on board. And it is RSP1A. Eddie Gomez, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. NL13851, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. Michael Langer is from Illinois, the armpit of America. Kevin Wood said there's someone on 6925 upper sideband. That's probably amphetamine radio. Andy RC, nice to have you here, and in Cornwall. So nice to have you here. Mickey Damage, nice to have you on board from Alberta. Gordon Treadwell, V6GPT, good afternoon, from Alberta also. And cool, Paige Master. I'm happy that you got it working. It was all in the settings. It was just to set it up right. Dave Thought, nice to have you here. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Jason Stafford, nice to have you here. RadioNet R from Ohio, nice to have you here. Ronald Esther from North Carolina. Donald Hosmer, nice to have you here from Michigan. W8SWL. Paul P. from West Midlands in England, nice to have you here. So apparently it's amphetamine radio, RadioNet. So no, Jason, the guest was the cat. He was sleeping there, so I didn't want to move him. So but we will eventually have guests. I got a few little things that I was thinking about, so we will have some guests in the next few. Mark on 5539, yeah, probably fishermen or something like that. I can't imagine anything really else than that, honestly. As that probably is what it was. It's usually that. So Mr. Paul wants to go out. So for a second here, guys, I'm just gonna have Mr. Paul go out. And here we go. And I can actually reclaim my chair. So let's just kind of move things around a little bit and reclaim the chair here slowly. Sorry, guys. It'll take a few seconds, then I can reorganize myself. I've got my beer, a big gift from God. We'll just move this. This is the what he sleeps on. And we'll move ourselves from here to here. Like this. We'll move the computer here. Like this. We'll move the camera closer. Like this. Move it a little more in that direction. Up here so you guys can see a little better there. And there we are. Back to normal with lots of cat air. But back to normal. Hey everybody. Oh man. Okay. So everything is alright? Yeah, okay. Okay, here we are. So what else do we have? So anyways, 5539. I wasn't sure between Portuguese and Italian, honestly, on 5539. And but a lot of you seem to say it's Portuguese, but by the way that they were talking, I knew it was in Spanish, because some people say, "Oh, it's Spanish." No, it's not. That's not. I was sure it was not Spanish. But let's just here we go. Open up the beer, and let's put some beer in this glass. Here we go. So it was either some South American something or Italian, but some of you said, "Yeah, it sounds Portuguese." So there's a lot of these going on in Central South America. A lot of people are using these two-way radios basically to just two-way radio as they're fishing or whatever is happening. So it's there's a lot of that going on in 6, 7, 8 megahertz. So it's probably something like that, fishermen or something. Somebody said that he thought he'd heard them talk about fishing and stuff. So it's possibly fishermen. And it's possible they probably go around, like Dave Todd says, 5539 sounded like the same guys as 6925, and it possibly is. They just moved the frequency so that they hear themselves better. Scott Cranston, nice to have you here from Massachusetts. He hears a higher than 6925. I need your shirt. I like wearing this shirt. I used to wear this shirt at a couple of places where people had a tendency to ask me to fix their PCs all the time, and I wasn't really, didn't really wanna. And I would wear this shirt. It's like, yeah. There's this karaoke place downtown that I go to from time to time, and their computers for a while had issues. And I would wear this shirt when I would go sing at the karaoke over there, because it's like, yeah, I ain't fixing a computer, but I always ended up fixing the computer. And one guy once said, "Why are you fixing their computers? You're not getting paid for it." I said, "Well, if I want to sing, the computer needs to work, so I'm fixing it because I just want to sing a few songs. So I'm thinking of myself and not thinking of the place." So anyways, nice to have everybody here. Andy Tobin says 9690, 40 dB over. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty strong signal. Let's go to 9690 from yeah, look at that. Really good signal from Spain on 9690. Really an amazing signal. They were so strong here. What else do we have? Jerry DX, nice to have you here. Elton Byington, nice to have you here. K3JWA in Baltimore. Cosmic Lettuce, nice to have you on board from southeastern Arizona, USA. And cheers, by the way, everybody. Fire Drake on 5980 says Richard Cook. Brett Wayne, nice to have you here. KC2NXP. Pretty cool. Oh, 5890, Richard. Let's try it. I don't think I'll hear it, but let's try it. 5980. Oops, 5890, sorry. 5890. There's something really weak in the noise, but nothing really on 5890 here. So nice to have everybody here. So okay, today we've got a few questions that I didn't answer from in email from last week that I think are interesting. So we'll answer that, and of course we'll tune the bands a little bit. A little tired today. I've got home yesterday quite late, and I'm a little tired. A little tired. So okay, sorry here. I just got a 4 emails that I want to remove. Okay. So, anyways, it's kind of fun to do this and to be here every Fridays. And hey, Bob T, nice to have you on board from Northeast Ohio. Yes, snowstorm on the way, a big one too, and big one too. So it's really going to be an amazing. What's amazing for me, because you don't see that very often. What's amazing for me is the fact that not only will it snow a lot and be very windy, but it's going to be like minus 21 on Sunday. We're going to have like a snowstorm and minus 20 degrees. That doesn't happen very often. Usually when snowstorms arrive, temperature tend to warm up and we get to a point where there's, so we're close to the 0 Celsius mark, the freezing point, But this weekend is so weird, like crazy cold and crazy snow, just really, really crazy. So we're gonna check that out. It's gonna be a interesting ride, an interesting walk up to CKUT on Sunday morning with the bad weather. So hopefully it's not too bad. And we're going to have a lot of snow to shovel. Texan PL 680, nice to have you here. Computer's lagging. No, ain't fixing the computers. Welcome aboard. Mr. Quick says listens to broadcast band DXing a lot and use an app called AM Search. I don't know about that app, AM Search. Let me just check it out. It's for what? Is it for Android? AM Search. There's an app. I just want to check it out here. AM Search. Something called AM Search in is it an app or something? Or where you get it? Is it on PC, Mr. Quick? Give us a little more details about that AM Search. Michael Ansher got Pirate. Pagemaster says next Friday's 41st birthday of the Great Blizzard of 78. Wow. Do big snowstorms seriously affect shortwave listening? Nope. Snowstorms have no effect on shortwave. And there's weather, weather does affect certain frequency ranges, yes. But on the shortwave spectrum, okay, 3 to 30 megahertz, weather doesn't usually impact at all, or if it does, it's negligible. So there's usually not much of a difference in a shortwave listening in a storm. Actually, I like listening to shortwave when there's winter storms because it's kind of cool to go to, listen in to exotic stations, listening, looking at the weather outside when it's really, really, really stormy and listening to music, for example, from Radio Nacional Amazonas from Brazil. It's kind of a contrast. It's like, well, I'm listening to a station in Brazil where it's probably warm and here it's big snowstorm. It's just, I've always enjoyed actually listening to the to shortwave during snowstorms. There's something special about it. And being home and the warmth of the home and looking at the snow falling outside and just enjoying, life. And that's it. What else do we have? So let's go back 6925. People reporting a pirate on 6925 upper sideband. There's something here. I will do one little thing here. I will unplug my Samsung charger because it does create a little bit of noise in the shortwave bands. Let's minimize the noise. I already have enough as it is. So 6925 upper sideband. Some are reporting a pirate. I'm not sure. I don't think I hear anything, but you know, sometimes the noise makes it a little tricky. Here, the great blizzard we had was in 72, in March of 72. When people want to talk about a blizzard and how it's affecting the you know, a really huge blizzard that affected life. It's March, something like March 4th, 1972 or 71, something like that. We had a really big one back then. I was 2 years old, so I don't remember a thing, but apparently people were using skis and going through the streets of Montreal with skis. Is this stream okay? I'm wondering, because I have there's a weird effect on the number of people watching. It's going up and down, like from 20 to 80 to 70 to, it's very weird. I don't know if you guys have any problem with the stream, or it's just that their counters all messed up, but it looks weird. Here everything is green, so usually it means that it's okay. Luis Salivallo, nice to have you here. Just curious, if I take my shortwave out high top mountain with no noise, there will be a lot of stations open day or night. Well, you know, you have to follow the rules of the shortwave bands and listen to the frequencies depending on the time, that is going to happen. You listen to the different frequencies, but you will have a lot more signals. With no noise, you'll notice that the bands, it's not going to be back-to-back signals, you know, like in the 80s when you were listening to shortwave, but there's going to be a lot of signals. Yes, a lot more than your home. So, yeah, well, I got nothing here that's happening. Everything is green. So my feed and my up feed, if I look at my up feed, it tells me I'm sending out pretty much all that's needed. It's weird that it's doing that. I will do one thing though. Let me just. So sometimes just stopping and starting again will change something. Because here I'm at 2.5 megabits per second. Connection is green. Should technically work well. So I don't know if just by redoing the connection if it's going to work. It seems that YouTube has some problems. Because I see the counter here move up and down like crazy, which is weird. So, Mugbot, nice to have you here. Steve Frost, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Let me just go down. So, yeah. Here everything's okay. So, very weird. Something's happening with YouTube, definitely. We'll see. What else do we have? Yeah, just refresh. When you have problems, just refresh the page. Buster Brown, nice to have you here. Mark Cope's got BBC Ascension on S7 on 15490. What else do we have? So Mercer Quick says it lists every AM station, and in particular in the US, Canada, Mexico, tells you what you may be hearing at your location, date. Also section for nighttime propagation. Oh, that's nice. It's iOS only. AM search. I'm looking here and I am not seeing anything for AM search in the Google Play Store. Would be nice to have a version for Android. What else do we have? Marvin Motz from Japan, nice to have you here. So anyways, I stopped and restarted. Hopefully it's going to be okay or better. Jason Pongrats, nice to have you on board from Rockwood, Ontario. So just had to refresh. Okay, pretty cool. Bobby Burgess, you must really love your RSP-1A for sure. Yeah, I love it. It's an amazing, amazing device. I really, really, really have a lot of fun with the RSP-1A, I can tell you that. Really, really am enjoying it. Hey, Douglas Elliott, nice to have you on board from the UK. So, if you guys have restarted, the stream's okay. Cool. So if there's any problem, just refresh. Seems to be okay now. Probably a glitch. So probably some kind of glitch. Anyways, I stopped and restarted the stream. Sometimes it happens that upstream, so you get on a path where that path is bad to YouTube, and you know, if I stop the stream for a second or two and restart, it gets a different connection and it's better. So it happens sometimes. But you know, since we've if we look at the stream from my shortwave stream, I mean, those that have been since the beginning, remember that I started off with the Google Hangouts, and boy, we had a lot of problems with Google Hangouts. It often froze or had problems. And it seems like at first when they pushed, because here they pushed us to move on to YouTube stream, live stream. And when they pushed us there, well, at first it was a little buggy. I remember the first few times we were streaming via YouTube Live, it wasn't that great. But now it's, in general, pretty consistent and pretty good. So it's kind of interesting. But if there's something you gotta restart, just refresh. Because on my end, there's nothing wrong. So if it does, it's really, there's something happening with YouTube. Sorry guys about that. It doesn't seem there's nothing I can do, unfortunately. What else do we have? So Mukbot is from Texas. Nice to have you here, my friend. And Al Catalin, nice to have you here. Tomorrow I'm planning to install a long copper multi-wire all across the attic, about 15 meters. What about the wire thickness? I can use 2.51 or 0.5 millimeter. What do you recommend? It doesn't really matter much. Use what is the best for what you will do. You know, a bigger wire will, of course, be less prone to breaking if something happens. And, you know, just whatever thickness you're going to use for reception doesn't change much. Really doesn't change much. So whatever you're going to use is going to be fun. Sorry, I'm going to... Okay, sorry there. I think I still have a few Paul the Cat air on my nose. Dance Radio International, nice to have you here. Brian Penny says, I want you to know after last week's show, you inspired me to send out 6 reception reports to broadcasters. Oh, cool. That's part of you know, the fun, and that's part of what I want to you know, have people doing. Write to your stations that you love. Let them know you're listening in, and yeah, you can ask for a QSL card at the same time. You know, it's kind of cool. And you know what? I actually have kind of inspired myself a little bit also, because I was listening to some shortwave broadcasts this week, and all week I was like, man, I should write. Yesterday I listened to The Voice of Vietnam coming in really, really well from WHRI on 7315, and I was just thinking, well, I need to send a reception report to Voice of Vietnam. I haven't written to Vietnam in several years now, and I need to you know, write it and let them know. And by the way, some of you that have written to Vietnam, I saw a post in a Facebook group where some of you have received a very, very nice wall calendar from Voice of Vietnam for 2019. So, you know, that's kind of the cool stuff that you can get when you write to a station. Ever heard of any pizza-related transmissions? Not really. What's the flamethrower around 6890? Yeah, I was there yesterday also. It's some kind of radar, I believe. I can see it here. 68 starts at 68, 70 roughly, up to 6910 almost. That's it was there last night. It was very strong. It's visible right now, but last night was a like really yellow colored. It was so strong. I believe it's some kind of radar. It's either that or some kind of really, you know, wideband digital transmissions of some sort. Like Donald Hosmer says, the wire diameter doesn't really matter. It's really the total length that affects the signal strength. So the longer the wire, the better. That's mostly what you got to do. Ralph Bender, nice to have you here from Germany. Matt, nice to have you on board, traveling through the snow to catch the show. See you soon. Be careful there. We want you in the in a safe mode. Texan PL 680, are you using RSP1A or ephedry during this live stream? RSP1A. The ephedry, I've lent my ephedry to Fastlow that you guys see in the channel from time to time. He wanted to try it out, so when he came over at Christmas, I told him, look, take the ephedry and have fun. And when you're over, when you don't want to use it anymore, just bring it, give it back. So he's having fun with the ephedry, and I'm using the RSP1A. That is superior to the ephedry, so honestly, really better. And the fact that it's a wideband receiver also. I've been enjoying some satellite reception, amateur satellite reception this week on the VHF UHF range. What else do we have? Blame it on the Russians. Yes, Steve. That's Radio International. Where's your cat? He was there at the beginning of the show, but now he's probably somewhere else sleeping. Frédéric, F4ECA. Bonsoir et bienvenue, Frédéric. It's nice to have you on board from France. Pretty cool. Oh, man. Brett Wayne, what is the little kit radio? You mean this? It's the Elenco AM 780. It's a little AM radio to build that you could buy. It was, I don't know, $15 with shipping on Amazon. And, you know, kind of those little fun weekend projects that you can build at home. And what's nice with it is that it actually gives you a very nice, a very nice explanation of how radio works. So,
Sergio Momesso joins us from the rink.
There we go.
3 hours ahead of the Habs and the Blue Jackets on Melnick in the afternoon on TSN 690. Here's a chance, Gilbert, and they score again.
So it works really well. Even it's very sensitive, actually. I actually received the other day. I was listening to Bloomberg 1130 from New York in the evening with this thing. It's surprisingly sensitive, a little radio. And it's nice because it has the manual, has the schematic, explains each stages of the receiver. You know, what does what in that radio. And so for people that want to learn, or, you know, if you got kids and you want to have them learn electronics, it's an amazingly cool project. There's the AM one, there's an FM one, and one that I'd like to have is there's the combo. It has AM, FM on it, and you just switch with a little switch between AM or FM when you want to listen to. And they're not, you know, very long to actually build. typically you build one of these in an evening if you want to take the time. In the evening, and you'll have built one of those. Also, it's nice because it helps in making, it's also a nice project, I would say, for somebody that doesn't have a good handling of the soldering iron. One of the problems is, solder is a little delicate. You got to practice to, have it good and work good. And by making one of these little projects like this, well, you're actually, improving your skills also. So it's good for pretty much everybody, I would say, honestly. Okay, what else do we have? Dance Radio International, you can read logs of my station on the HF Underground. Cool. So I guess you're on some frequency range somewhere. SWL 60N, nice to have you on board from Stockholm, Sweden. Clear skies and -6. Here it's -8 right now. It's going to be -20. -20. Ralph Bender says, only got a calendar from KBS this year. So, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Bill Mead, nice to have you here from Pennsylvania. I have a 4-pack of La Fin du Monde, and I'm ready for the big snowstorm this weekend. Cool. Nothing like looking at the storm with Fin du Monde. I have its little cousin right now, which is Don de Dieu, which means gift from God. So cheers, my friend. Richard Cook's got a QSL card from Slovakia today. Nice. Mr. Quick, does anybody know if there are magazines like Monitoring Times anymore? Yeah, you have the Spectrum Monitor, which is an electronic publication. And let me just on the tablet somewhere. So it's like Monitoring Times. If you love Monitoring Times, you'll love the Spectrum Monitor. The only thing is it's an electronic publication that you have to subscribe, and you get the PDF file every month in your email. Hey, Mr. G, nice to have you here. Electrobidouillard, bonjour. Nice to have you on board. No, absolutely, same as he's saying. Antenna wire, whatever dimension you use, doesn't matter, and it doesn't have to be bare. Actually, it's even better that it's not bare, because if you keep the insulation, if you put it around some place that might, have a contact with some metal parts or something, you will at least prevent that from happening, for sure. But absolutely, doesn't matter if you keep the insulation or not. Actually, even for an outdoor wire, I often say it's better to keep the insulation, because at least you will maintain the integrity. If you have a bare copper wire, for example, outside, you will see that, boy, it changes color really fast, and the weather will affect it. So by keeping the insulation, well, you also keep kind of the integrity of the wire itself for better contact, SW60N says there are still shortwave radios on sale in General Electronics store in Stockholm. I only found a quite low-budget Sony radio with FM, long-wave, medium-wave, shortwave though. Online stores are still selling Sangean. Yes, there are. Sangean still makes a couple of models of shortwave receivers. Sony is now one that's gone, but there's still a lot of shortwave radios to be purchased, honestly. Outcrafters says, planning on a weekend snowbound from the storm and playing with the radios, getting my grocery shopping done tonight, and going nowhere at all. So, Michael Langis says, Pirate sign off, 2.5-hour show. Cool, nice. Mickey says, for you CIDXers out there writing reception reports, yes, absolutely. Mickey is the editor of the very interesting QSL column in the CIDX. I am the editor of the new column called The World of Utilities. So if you guys want want to check that out. If you've never had a copy of the Messenger, which is the Canadian International DX Club Bulletin, you can ask for a sample copy at cidxclub@yahoo.com. Don't ask twice, only once, and you'll see what it looks like, and you can subscribe. So yes, Brett Wayne, yes, absolutely, pretty cool. And yeah, the radio kit. Actually, if you go on Amazon, just type Elenco, ELENCO, and you will see there are several Elenco radio kits on Amazon, and they're not very expensive, and they're a lot of fun to do. You know, that was a simple project, but for me, it was the fun of I hadn't built any little electronic circuits in such a long time that I thought, you know what, just for the fun of it. And I mean, they include everything. You have in there not just the parts to build it. They even give you a little, you know, a little bunch of solder, so you don't have to go and buy solder anywhere. You just need the soldering iron, and that's it. And I thought, just for the fun, I want to, a weekend project, just relaxing, and instead of doing the regular whatever you do all the time, why not just, hey, I'm going to sit down tonight and just do this and listen to the radio or something while I'm building that little kit. So it's kind of cool. And it's very, very well done in explaining how all works, so it gives you a nice basic understanding of everything. PLF radio, yes, these I know for a long time, VHF, absolutely. But I don't have, I don't use much of these, honestly. I rather tune around. The other day there was a guy on one of the Facebook groups that said, where do I go to get real-time propagation information? And the first comment that went through was, well, you turn on the radio and you turn the knobs. And it's, I'm kind of the guy that thinks about that rather than looking at numbers. For example, there was somebody sharing the other day a map of the maximum usable frequencies. And I was telling, I as a comment I posted was, okay, according to that map, I shouldn't have anything above 5 megahertz at the moment. And yet, I get WRMI on 7780. So, what I was saying is, you know what? Don't take these maps for, just, you can look at them, but don't think that that is the truth, and only the truth, and that basically it's always like that. Because it's like, you will well, there's some little, I don't know if it's a little air or something, but it's really annoying next to the nose. Sorry, guys. So anyways, I don't take that information. I will, if I look at it, I'll look at it in a different way, but I won't look at it in thinking, oh, well, that, because there's too many people that actually are like that they look at these numbers and they're like, oh, well, tonight I'm not going to turn on the radio because, the map says that it's no good. No, turn on the radio because that map says it's no good, but I listened to tons of things here and it was really, really nice. So you got to be careful with these propagation things. They can be helpful in understanding propagation somewhat, but don't take these and think that they are, they're going to give you the absolute truth of everything, Randy in Riverside, California, nice to have you here. Nuridun Mazari, bonjour, bonsoir d'Algérie, bonsoir, bonjour du Canada. Toujours un plaisir, always nice to have you on board from Algeria. Sheldon Harvey, bonjour, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Greenfield Park, Quebec, just southeast of Montreal. And hope that you're bracing yourself for this weekend's snowstorm. So Dance Radio International on 6925. And yes, HF Underground is amazing for the information. for parts. Yeah, Mickey, I saw that. So you got a 9LY1JM Sierra Leone on 10104. Let's try that. 10104. And CW. And CW. I'll just leave it like this and see if I hear something coming in. CR, nice to have you on board from Brazil, PY2NN. Raya, nice to have you here. Bobby Burgess got Radio Vanny Cuba on 15140. And yeah, they often have modulation problems, absolutely, on Radio Vanny Cuba. Yep, like Michael Edge says, you can buy the magazine one at a time if you want. And there's absolutely some writers that come from Popular Communications and Monitoring Times that write to at the Spectrum Monitor. You can just take one sample if you want and look at it. And if you like it, you can subscribe afterwards. Bullfrog 89, KD2CXU. Nice to have you on board from Albany, New York. Been a few weeks, spent some time back home in the St. Lawrence. Hope you're all been well. Pretty cool. I'm hearing some Morse code here. And stopped at the liquor store to stock gin and vodka for the storm. That's the essentials. The hell with the food, just vodka. Yeah, drank in the storm. Oh, that is absolutely a nice one also. Like Vancouver Island DXer says, the advantage of insulated wire is that you can choose a color according to whether visibility for safety or stealth is more important. Yeah, when you put an outdoor wire, and that I often did that. When I put an outdoor wire, I would choose a color that makes it difficult to see, so that no... I think I'm hearing it. I do hear the Morse code. So, you can hide your wire easily by choosing the correct color for sure. Brian says the 4-States QRP Club has nice kits like regenerative receivers I built a few years ago. Oh, cool. Driver film shortwave. Every time I do a bit of soldering, I'm always listening to shortwave or medium or long wave. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So, pretty much. I do the same. I turn on the radio and I listen to something on the radio while doing the, building the kit or something, Alcat, and what frequency will I be able to capture with 15 meter? Well, 15 meter, you should have a nice reception if you don't have too much noise. If you don't have too much noise, you should have a nice reception. With 50 meters, you'll have a nice reception of many frequency ranges. It's really the noise. It's really the noise that is going to decide if you'll get something or not, much more than anything else. But 15 meter of wires in quiet conditions is more than enough to receive the weather facts from Pinnenberg, Germany. You'll get that with that, as long as you don't have too much noise, though. That's the important thing, I would say here. David Provo, what's the best color wire for stealth? I would guess any dark color is probably the best that you can do, so that it's it doesn't show too much. You want to avoid the bright colored, red or yellow or things like that. Artist Ali Crowder's Kitchen. Someone I follow on YouTube keeps the CB radio on 24/7 as a real-time propagation monitor. It's because it's not set up. Because honestly, I would leave my old 40 channel CB on channel 6 with the squelch on 24 hours. And when sporadic E-skip happens, breaks the squelch, and now you hear signals and you know that it's happening. That's how I saw it the other day. I had the RSP1 here, on 27025, and I just left it there. And while I was doing something else, I think I was in the kitchen, and the volume was just enough so that I could hear something. I was in the kitchen, and I started hearing what sounded like, CB. I was like, okay, there's something happening. And that's how I knew the other night there was some sporadic E-skip. Revelda 65, nice to have you here. Jeff KD5 QDO, nice to have you on board from Gross, Texas. Bob Guys from Long Island, New York, nice to have you here. Mark Fisher, hey there from Southern Illinois. PA1WX from the Netherlands, nice to have you here. Rick Robbins, good afternoon, nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice to have you on board. Sheldon says, I'm hearing a Sierra Leone ham on 14145 USB. Not from home, but on the SDR New Jersey. Okay, let's check that out. 14145. Am I hearing anything here? Check it out. 15145. We'll see if we can hear it. Would be nice to hear Sierra Leone. I believe if I hear Sierra Leone, I will be probably the first time ever. But I think on 10104 I was hearing it in CW mode. I'll keep the radio there a little bit. Gin and tonic, an amazing summer drink. I like that. I never had I never had ever last year, not Christmas that we just crossed now, but the other year before, I had a friend over, and she likes gin, and I always, I had never really, done any, drank gin in my life, and she likes gin and tonic, and actually, when she came for Christmas and she had that gin and tonic, I said, can I taste it? I never tried that before. And I actually was surprised to how good it is. I was very, very surprised. I never bought gin after that, but it's something that's surprisingly good. What else do we have? PLF Radio says, have you tried DXing international shortwave broadcast bands between 0 to 6 a.m. local time? Since it's a particular time, I think there may be less signals or something different to listen to. Well, I often, I go to bed around 1 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m., depending on what I have to do the next day. And a couple of times this week, actually, I was listening to, between midnight and 2 a.m., I listened to a few signals. I listened to Radio France coming in really well at that time. It's 0500 UT at midnight here. Radio France was coming in well. The BBC was very strong, 5925, 5875. I had, what else did I hear? I heard several stations. I could hear Radio Austria, their German broadcast on 6155. I heard, what did I hear? I heard quite a few signals that were interesting anyways. I haven't done that in a long time. When I was a teenager, one of the fun things I always done with shortwave, from time to time, I would do an all-nighter. I would say, okay, tonight I'm listening to shortwave all night. And or sometimes what I would do is I would go, listen to shortwave at 3 a.m. And another time, instead of doing that, I would wake up at 3 a.m. and do 3 to 6 or 7 a.m. And I did that so often when I was a teenager because I always found listening to shortwave in the middle of the night a very unique thing. It's like you hear signals that, and you do hear signals that you don't hear in the daytime, and or in general. There are some transmissions that are for specific areas that only happen during that time period. What I want to set up here is put in the RSP1 to record all night, and in the next morning look at the signals and what it recorded, and try to see what I could hear during the night. So that could be another thing that I could do also. But definitely, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Sheldon says, got a QSL letter from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation from 1981. One of my favorite QSLs. Heard on 5980 kilohertz at 0640 UT back in August 81. Yes, I'd like that, Sheldon. I'd like to see that. Wow. It's I remember one of the things that I enjoyed with African stations, when there were a lot of them on the bands. What was cool about African stations and the tropical bands was that if you'd stay up around, starting at around 0400 UT roughly, you'd start getting all the African stations, because the day was about to start in Africa, and so the stations were signing on for the day on shortwave, and it was a lot of fun. I remember having a lot of fun, waiting every half hour or so, and tuning in to the stations. One that I still remember, it was like 0500 UT or something like that. Radio Nationale Tchadienne on 4904.5, and I remember listening to that on my Kenwood R5000. I would just lie in bed and leave the radio on and hear the interval signal, and then hear the broadcast in French. And a lot of these stations, it's kind of fun to hear them sign on for the day. As the other way, late afternoons was the time when a lot of them would sign off for the night. So you could listen in to, like at 2100 UT, roughly, you would listen in to some stations from Africa, but they would actually sign off, at 21, 22, 2300 for the night before they would come back in the morning. So it's like kind of fun. These are some of the really, really cool memories I got from listening to these shortwave stations when I was a teenager. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Bullfrog89 says his favorite time to listen, 3 to 7 a.m. local. Great propagation. Don't often do it often. Yeah, it's that's something I should document and do a few videos of. Doing it in the middle of the night. Jao Samran US, nice to have you on board from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Cool to have you here. Richard Cook says 5091 for S06. I don't know if I'll hear anything. 5091. Here we go. Upper sideband. Let's see if we hear anything there. Marvin Motz, I was in Congo last year. Excellent shortwave from America. 3 to 5 a.m. Africa time on 40 meters. It's, and it must be quiet there compared to a lot of places here. Artist Alicratcher says, follows a gentleman on YouTube who's always complaining about propagation conditions. It appears he only listens in the morning and midday, always reminding him the best listening is at night. That is one of the things that I often see in forums or in Facebook groups. So many people complaining about propagation, and I mean, yes, there are some periods of crappy propagation, but the problem is a lot of people that are if they're not complaining, they don't understand why they don't hear anything. And then you look and they tell you, well, I was listening at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Yeah, at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, you don't have a lot of stuff to listen to usually. 11 a.m., noon, 1 p.m. In the afternoon is usually a very quiet time for propagation. And so, they just listen there and they're like, well, there's nothing on shortwave. You need to listen to different time frames, late afternoon, evening are often good. Middle of the night will bring you different types of signals and propagation. You got to listen, at different times. Too many people just, kind of think that, oh, well, if there's nothing at noon, it must be because, well, you know, shortwave's crappy and there's nothing to listen to. So, you know, TXN PL680 says, Joe, the shortwave vampire, a true creature of the night. I am a creature of the night. I gotta say, I like to go out and you know, when I go out to bars, I rarely come back. I went with some friends at a karaoke bar on Tuesday night, and I mean, you know, came back home at 4 a.m. It's like if I go out, I kind of find it nice to just, you know, go out and enjoy the night. I'm sort of a creature of the night somewhat, yes, absolutely. I've always been like that. You know, early mornings for me is a killer. Every time I had a job where I had to wake up at like 6 a.m., man, that was the death of me. I mean, it was like, you know, I would get these jobs and it's like, well, you got to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work. Oh, man, please. And I remember once I got a job and we had to wake up at, I had to wake up at 6:30 a.m. to go to work. And one day, the guy looks at everybody and he needs 2 guys to work the night shift, the evening shift. That's like from 3 p.m. to midnight. So he looks at everybody, says, anybody wants? And nobody wanted. But I just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he looked at me. Everybody looks surprised, like, you want to do that shift? Yeah, I want to have to wake up in the darn morning. You know? And I like that shift because it gives you part of the day, the weekday. If you have things to take care of, you got time. Because when you do a day shift, a day shift, when there are things to do and, you know, everything's just open, like, you know, 9 to 5, you gotta miss work to do things. Now that was like, no, I don't have to miss work, and I like that shift, and, you know, it's just kind of cool. So it was a lot of fun. Page Master says, radio propagation is one strange beast. 1 minute you can hear a station from the state Nigeria, 3580 at 04 UT. Next minute you go that frequency in time and you cannot hear again. Yeah, you know what? The other day, yesterday morning, I was listening to LU4 LAO, I believe is the call sign from Norway. I heard that guy many times before. He was coming in quite well around, it was 10 a.m. here, so it was like 15 UTC. And he had a great signal at 1500 UTC. And from 15 hours UTC to 1530, then that 30-minute range, it was fading out slowly, and then poof, it was gone. And that's not counting that sometimes it's almost sudden. Sometimes, depending on propagation conditions and things like that, you sometimes just, you know, get a, you just get a, you know, a signal 1 minute, and suddenly, no more signal. It's just crazy. So, let's check out Sheldon's QSL letter. Oh, wow. That is nice. That is nice. QSL letter from Sierra Leone Broadcasting. Nice. So I'm just going to show you guys quickly, but that's kind of cool. A letter makes it official or something like that. So this is what it looks like, the top of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting. September 23rd, 1981. And, wow, dear listener to Sierra Leone Broadcasting Service, acknowledges receipt of your reception report dated 28 August 1981 on 5980 kHz in the 49-meter band at 6 hours 41 GMT. According to our program schedule, your details are correct. We hereby verify that you were listening or definitely tuned in to our station on the above details. Thanks for your interest in our station. Sierra Leone has a population of 2.785 million people, which I guess is probably a lot more than that today. Then again, it's really mysterious sometimes. There are many tribes, of which Mende and Temne, something like that. Kind of nice. Look at that. There's a nice little crystal set sent by Mickey. Look at that. There's a little crystal set here. Kind of cool. Cool little things. Really nice. Really nice to see all of these things. And I mean, I've got some of these QSLs from Africa that I find extremely nice and important, honestly. Really, really cool. So I didn't hear S06, Richard. I didn't hear anything on 5091. Dave Todd, when the solar flux is higher, daytime is much better. It will tend to be better, but still midday has never been the best time. Zero Cool, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, there was some broadcasters on 11 meters in '89. When I showed my QSLs the other day, I was showing off my radio RSA QSL on 20. That's for the frequency of 25790 that I would hear almost every day back in the '80s with the good solar conditions back then. I mean, the solar activity was so intense back in that time. It's just crazy. David Snyder, 6:30 a.m. is early for me. You know, we all have our little something that boggles us, or, you know, for me, waking up before 9 a.m. is a problem. It's always been. I guess I'm more of a nighttime person. I kind of like that time period more, you know. Yeah, 3 a.m. to go to work. Talk to a 160 meter band every morning. But, you know, I would wake up early. And when I was a teen, school would start, if I remember, school would start at like 9 a.m. or 8:45 a.m. or something like that. And what I would do, so I lived, you know, 5 minutes from the school. So I would, you know, just leave 10 minutes before the class started, and I was okay. So, but I would back then like to listen to a lot, because there was a lot of shortwave broadcasters in the 80s that had early morning transmissions to North America. You know, because stations often target prime time listening for target areas. So, of course, one of the things that was there was the fact that you could hear, you know, stations in the evening, because they would direct programs to North America for the evening. But a lot of stations would direct some programming to North America in the mornings. And I remember, like, I would like, you know, I was waking up early, like, you know, 6:30 or 7 a.m. and get a good 1 hour of shortwave listening before going to school. I remember doing reception reports, and the mailbox was on the same, you know, path as me going to school. So I would do a reception report sometimes at like 7 a.m. and, you know, put it in the envelope, put the address, everything, put the stamp on, and I'd drop it in the mailbox as I was going to school many times. And there were some stations that were mostly, if I remember well, Transworld Radio in Bonaire had a transmission in the morning, but no transmissions in the evening at that time period, if I remember well. So if I wanted to listen to TWR Bonaire in the Netherlands Antilles, I had to listen in early morning transmissions. So, but it was a lot of fun when I kind of think about that, and man, it's just, I'm having right now, you know, how the brain is really powerful at kind of putting you back into a situation or a moment in time. I'm thinking right now of, you know, listening to a station on shortwave before school and posting the envelope and I have the feel of that time period. Driver from Shortwave, nice to have you here. Worked in Norway last weekend. He was a few minutes from the Arctic Circle. So nice. I like that. I like listening to some of these stations from, Norway or Sweden or Finland. Somebody was, I think it was Matt, MDK2, that I saw on Facebook. He left on the logging for FT8 or something. And he logged Greenland. I logged Greenland 5 or 6 times. I remember there was, I don't know if he's still active, but I remember there was one guy in Nuuk, which is, I believe, the capital of Greenland. He was on radio teletype, 20-meter band, very often. And in the space of maybe 2 months, I heard that guy from Greenland maybe 4 or 5 times in a radio teletype in RTTY on the 20-meter band. And but I haven't heard Greenland in a long, long time. Elton Byington says, overnight listening is good for hearing daytime only as they sign on for the day. It's best to tune in 2 a.m. Eastern Time, catching low power stations from the Pacific Coast area. Nice to have you safe and sound, Matt. APLF Radio, take care. No shows tomorrow, by the way. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board. Pretty cool. And waiting to receive his new antenna. Will be a triple bazooka. So nice to have you here, my friend. As a just gonna check it out here. So Elton Byington, as the hours pass, your reception will progress eastward until your local daytime. There's sign on. There's also that fact that as time goes by, you have all of this shift in propagation that always was amazing, and you get to the point where I still remember, for me, Pacific Asia was the morning thing, Africa, Europe was the evening thing. It was like, and I always found it so amazing, for that. Yes, there's a total lunar eclipse this weekend, absolutely, as Bob T says. Nice to have you here, Bob. And on Sunday night, if you guys have a clear sky, that probably will not happen in Montreal, you can see a total lunar eclipse on Sunday evening. So if you guys have a clear skies, check that out. It's always a beautiful thing to watch. I've always enjoyed watching that. Colanger says, I got letters from manager at Radio Cuba remembered me writing 10 years before, and a nice letter from St. Helena. Love a letter, so much more personal. Yeah, there's something about a letter. I've got the one, I got a few ones. One that I always remember is when I got a reception letter from Radio Pakistan. And I had heard, it's on an interesting frequency. I had heard Pakistan one evening on 21.525, or I don't remember which exact frequency. I would have to find a letter. But I remember tuning in and really having, it was like an unusual signal for me. And when I got that QSL letter, if you want, there's something special about it, It's like, wow. So Sheldon has posted the tentative schedule for the Shortwave Winterfest forums, and are you doing anything this year? Last year you did a trivia thing. Have you thought of anything you would do this year, or you're just gonna take it easy this year, Sheldon? So if you guys want to see the Winterfest schedule for the different events, it's now posted. What else do we have? Sheldon Says, as an avid bird watcher, getting up early is a must for me, so no problem being up before sunrise at times. Yeah, that is something that you got to do. Absolutely. There's always that, I mean, there are birds all the time, but in like midday, it seems to be like quiet for bird watching. Yeah, early morning is probably a good time for sure. But not much. I rant. I just rant about the fact that I got to get up. But honestly, it's the earliest I have to wake up lately is on Sunday mornings, so I have to go to the International Radio Report, and I get up at like 8:15 or something, 8:15, which is it's okay. I mean, it's totally decent. I have a friend of mine that works on the buses, and she tells me all the time, she says, "Well, you got a hard time waking up at 8. Well, I got to wake up at 4 a.m. to go on the first bus at 5:30. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. Matteo D'Amico, nice to have you on board from Italy. Cool. We have Italy. And 300 species of birds. I'm amazed, Sheldon, here. When I moved here, because, when you live in a big city like Montreal, and especially when you live in a place, because the two places where I lived before, there were pretty much no trees in the street. So I would not see a lot of birds. I would see very little birds, honestly, and very common ones. And when I moved here on this street is full of trees. And I was so surprised to see birds that I didn't even think were in Montreal. And I mean, I saw so many different birds here that I was totally amazed. This week there was a kind of a falcon in the backyard. It was huge. It was huge. I mean, when he started flying, the wingspan was amazing. I was like, wow, that is a big bird. It was so big actually that I was like, wow, I'm starting to get scared of my cat going outside. And I'd seen maybe once that bird before. But there's cardinals here. There's a couple of cardinals that I see all the time. One is bright red, the other one is like greenish, yellow, greenish. And they're always together. Blue jays. And it's so funny because when I moved here, I had never thought that, there were blue jays in Montreal. The guy on the other side of the street here would put peanuts out. And blue jays, I'm sure you know, Sheldon, it has the sound that makes a blue jay is very distinctive and quite loud. So when one is coming. And it's so funny because the first year I moved here, I would hear when the blue jays would call, but I wouldn't realize it was that. I thought, well, there's some kind of bird screeching outside or something. And it's so funny because he would take the peanuts from the other side of the street, and he would come right here to the edge of my window. There's a cement border. They would actually come here, and because of the way the sun was shining, they couldn't see me inside, so they were just bringing their peanuts here and eating them here. And it's funny because every time I cleaned the window, there would be like, peanut scales everywhere. It was just funny. But I remember it, and I remember finding them so beautiful to see, and I could see them so close because they were just here outside the window of my office. But I was amazed to see the number of birds and the different kind of birds here on this street. I didn't even know before moving here there were so many species of birds in Montreal itself. You just need a street that has a lot of trees. So Matt, yeah, that's what I saw the other day. You got the FT8 signal from Greenland on 30 meters the other day. Hal Catton says, when I was a kid, I had about 25 meters of long wire, shiny stone, by the way, the end of the wire in the ground, parallel, an old phone speaker, and I was receiving Radio Romania. Nice. Nice. Kevin Wood, any comments about PL360? Seems cheaper than the last time I looked. Well, it's from what I know, the PL360, which is a little cousin of the. So this is the Conicom GP5. This is the PL365. The PL360, the only difference is that it doesn't have single sideband. The PL360 is no sideband. The 365 is sideband. The 360 is no sideband. If you remove the sideband part, I believe they are pretty much the same radio. And I have seen the same comment, Kevin, about the PL360. When you have it turned off, like now, better remove the batteries, because this thing gobbles batteries. Especially if you put alkaline batteries in here. Don't forget to remove them, because your alkaline batteries in a month are going to be dead, even if you don't use it. Tiroboski, nice to have you here. Oh yeah, Sheldon, you and Miki doing the second annual Winterfest trivia contest. That must be fun. That'll be something I'd like to see. Channel Musa, nice to have you here. Michael Langer got a great one from Cape Radio for Armed Forces Radio rebroadcasting show launch for the troops. Wow. The Jerry DX Carnival de Quebec should be starting soon. I always wanted to go to that. Believe it or not, I've never been. I've never been to the Carnival de Quebec, and the worst part is when I was young, I had an uncle in Quebec City. We used to go there all the time, and I remember we went there a couple of times during the Carnival de Quebec, and we've never gone. Yeah, no SSB on the 360. And no numeric keypad. If I had one major issue on this, of course, besides the battery drain, the lack of a keypad does make you kind of go nuts a little bit when you want to tune, especially when you want to tune far away from some frequencies. For example, if I want to tune the, channel 6CB 27025, boy, you gotta go to the 10-meter band and the steps that it gives you, and then you gotta tune down and have it scan down until 27. It's not the funniest thing in the world, but it works, and it does go. But the PL360 does not have single sideband. Mark Cope, Radio Nacional Amazonas Strong 11780. 11780. Pretty good. Whoops. 11780. Yep, pretty good. So Radio Nacional Amazonas from Brazil, pretty good. Pretty good. Yes, it's true, Sheldon. There are a lot of stations using bird calls in their interval signals. Radio RSA, Rye, Italy. I remember Rye, Italy. What else did I remember with birds in it? Radio RSA had the birds. I remember hearing more others with birds, but the two one that come to mind for me is Rye, Italy, and Radio RSA from South Africa. So, but they're the same design, absolutely, like Man Radio DX says. It's just that one has SSB, the other one doesn't. Oh yeah, Radio New Zealand, absolutely, Matt. Radio New Zealand International has a bird call interval signal, absolutely, for sure. The PL360 is a PL360. The GP5 SSB is actually the PL365 rebranded by Countycom in California. So the one I have here is the Countycom. This one was given to me as a gift from Countycom in California, along with amazing flashlights of all sorts that I still have here and really enjoy. Nick Casarino, the guy from there, was often here. Sheldon says, a lot of similarities between DXing and birdwatching, trying to hear them and identify them. One major difference, birds don't QSL. Well, they can. Maybe you can stand under the bird, and if you get the bird poop, it's their own way of giving their own QSLs. But I have been more interested in birds since I moved here. Interested to see the different kinds, and actually buying. I would go to Canadian Tires and sometimes buy some bird food seeds and stuff that I would leave in the back, especially in the winter time. I have a box where I plant flowers at the balcony in the back here next to my barbecue, and it hangs on the outside of the balcony. And in the wintertime, what I like to do is leave seeds and all sorts of things there. And, I wake up in the morning and you see all these birds, in the box that are eating. And, at the same time, it's like, when it's really cold, it must be difficult for them to find some food. So it's like, I'm just going to give some, some little food here and there. And I know that by the type of food that you put there, you have different types of birds. So, for example, I don't see blue jays, but, maybe I should put peanuts in the box, and at some point the blue jay is going to be there. What is funny with the blue jays is they are always there at the same time. Now, remember, they would come here and get the peanuts at the other side every morning at around 9 a.m. Every morning. 9 a.m. was blue jays time. They were really timed. 9 a.m. every morning. That made me kind of find it funny. It's like, wow, they're really timed. Every morning at that time they're here. So it's kind of interesting. Jerry, you should invite birders to your office and charge admission. So I've seen at least I can say that I've seen at least 10 to 12 different kind of birds here. At least. And I'm sure if I look more, probably will see more. There's a woodpecker in the summertime. I hear that woodpecker all the time. Not just that, there's a really beautiful woodpecker and Paul the cat. My famous Paul the cat. One summer day gets in the house and I see he's got something in his mouth. And he puts it on the floor next to me and I look. He had killed a woodpecker. And I was like, no. You killed a beautiful bird. And he's like all, meow and nice. And it's like, look, I brought food. And I'm like, no, you killed a bird. You don't do that. And it was a beautiful woodpecker with there was some red and some white on the head. And I was sad. I was like, oh man, you killed a woodpecker. You could have killed something that's like so common that we don't care. No, you had to kill a woodpecker. And but I suspect he was already dead because he doesn't have his claws on the front paws, so I can't really see him jumping and killing a bird. Honestly, maybe it was already dead and he just picked it up and brought it in. But you never know. A cat is a cat. He could have jumped on it and killed it too. But oh man. Yeah, seagulls. We've got seagulls here, David. We got seagulls at the McDonald's. You just go to the local McDonald's and you'll see seagulls probably in a couple of minutes. David Arden, KJ4CMY, nice to have you on board. Just got a QSL from WRMI last February. So from last February, it took almost a year. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that shirt is, this was bought online. It was a gift from my brother. Jerry DX says, the only problem with the GP5 SSB is the batteries die, yep, or remove. You lose, if you remove, you lose all presets, no memories. Oh, really? Kevin with lots of bald eagles here sometimes. I like, there's a web page, it's the Raptor Resource Project that it's called. And there's one camera called, that I like watching from time to time, the Cora Eagles. And it's a live camera from from bald eagles' nests. And at this time it starts to get interesting because they'll soon, I believe in February, early February, they're gonna, or mid-February, they're gonna have eggs, and sometime in March you'll see the little birds break out of the eggs, and it's always a kind of a nice thing to watch. Richard Cook's got 11780, very weak. Yeah, Radio Australia years ago, absolutely. I remember something about that, Elton Byington. Zambian shortwave with the fish eagle interval signal. I don't remember that one. Yeah, take pictures of the birds, absolutely. I actually took, to show you guys the bird, by the way. I think I took a picture of that bird the other day. Yeah, it's right here. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see it well, but look at this, Sheldon. That was the bird outside in the neighbor's yard. I don't know if you guys can see it well. This is the picture that I zoomed. I zoomed the camera from my phone to get it. And I mean, that was a huge bird. He was there, I think it was on Wednesday. Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning. I was looking out, taking my coffee. And I said, whoa, look at that. Was that bird? So he was out there. It's not a very clear picture because I zoomed in. But so I took two pictures of him. Two pictures of the bird. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? I've never seen that. Actually, I had seen him, I think, once before. So it's kind of interesting. Keegan, nice to have you on board from Northwest Arkansas. Matt Radio DXer, there used to be a station on digital radio, the AB called Birdsong. Whoops, sorry, Birdsong here in the UK. It used to be play birds singing in the forest 24/7. Went off the air some time ago. Huh, interesting. There's an online stream. Radio Romania, let's check out the signal of Romania on 6170.
Counterparts from other member states, German officials and representatives of farming associations in the EU.
Let's try 7310.
The will come to an end next Sunday. Last year, more than 400,000 people visited
7310 and 6170.
Italy, and one is in serious condition after the car was
pretty good. Radio Romania in English.
Shortly after having committed a burglary, collided.
Bullfrog, yeah, the Blue Jays in Toronto. So, Tidabuski, of course, listened to Rai in Italy a long time ago when they were in shortwave many times. Many times. Jerry says, get a good camera, sell your bird pics online, start the official bird channel. Kevin Wood says, Blue Jays love the black sunflower seeds I put out. Oh, really? W5KJL, nice to have you on board. Are you saying you live in a bird box? Yeah, I have to wear my I have to wear a band so I can't look. I can't watch. Have you seen all these idiots that do stupid things? And with the bird box challenge, they put a band over their hands, their eyes, so they don't see a thing, and do like in a movie. One guy was actually on the highway in his car. What a dumbass! I mean, come on. Sunny at 56 Fahrenheit. Lucky you. Here is going to be snowy and below 0 Fahrenheit, like, you know, minus 10 or minus 5 Fahrenheit or something. Matt says, cat spraying on sunbirds is a fairly serious problem at times. By the way, I had a friend who had a declawed cat when I was growing up. He could still hunt fine. He would bring in bats. Yeah, I don't know. It's I wasn't happy. You know, it was like, okay, I'm not gonna. I mean, it's in his instinct. I mean, the cat just jumps on anything that moves. But man, I was like, you know, just crazy. It's like, Nicky Dalmash says, other shortwave stations that use birds and irritable signal. Rai, Italy, Radio RSA, South Africa, and Kookaburra of Radio Australia. Yep. Exactly. Marcio Fiallo, nice to have you here. Following your live, what do you think of the Radio XH Data D808? I don't own one, but everybody that has one seems to really find that the radio is it's an amazing radio, and that's a great value for the price. Jerry, any owls on your window ledge? Tell everyone that you see peckers and hooters outside your windows. No, never seen an owl here. Matambali says, mixed feelings on the woodpecker. Currently see some damage to the side of the house a few years ago. Geek Nerd, nice to have you here. Is it possible to receive shortwave on a crystal radio with a very long antenna without power? With some really strong signals, I can't see why not. I think it probably can be done, yes. But of course you'll get only the really powerful signals. Bobby says in Worcester's times you can see seagulls in Walmart. Brian Penny in Morning Doves, QSL, my bird band every day. Oh man. Marcio Fial in Brazil, nice to have you on board, my friend. A Cooper's Hawk. Okay. Kind of interesting. I need to check that up. A Cooper's Hawk. Okay. Mandria DXer says, when I go DXing in the field during the day, I always hear birds singing. Very nice sound, especially when they are heard in my recordings of DXing stations. It's when I do the urban DX expeditions, and it's the time of the cicadas. Oh boy, they can really ruin your recordings of shortwave radios in an afternoon. Birds are fun. Birds, you know, I have many videos that I posted from when I went to Perry Island, where you actually, while I'm recording some stations that I'm receiving, you actually hear some birds in the recording at the same time. It is kind of nice. It's kind of, oh wow, you know. So, Cooper's Hawk. Interesting. I had seen it before. But it's the first time that he was like standing there, and I mean, he was huge. When he actually opened his he went away. I mean, it was a huge bird. I was like, whoa, that is a big bird. JDX has seen a snowy owl about 1.5 years ago. Big hooters. Oh, pigeons. Here in Montreal there was a pigeon problem. There was too many pigeons, and they brought in some, I think it was some falcons or something like that, to hunt the pigeons. And there's a lot less pigeons now than there was before. I remember when I was young, there were so many pigeons. It was called completely nuts. Kevin Woods, shortwave, bird watching, next topic, train spotting. I like to train spot also. It's, yeah, I think we're all, you know. I'm going to do that. Texan PL680. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a shortwave radio and I'm going to do the Bird box challenge while shortwave tuning and listening. Oh man, I have to try it. I have to do it. As long as the as YouTube doesn't take the video down, because now they're taking down videos of people posting these things because they say that it's too dangerous. It's just crazy. Oh man. No problem, Geek Nerd. But try it. But don't expect that you'll hear too much, because you'll only hear what's very, very strong. But yeah, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. I can tell you that. Keegan, may have snow here. We're going to have snowstorm on Sunday. We're going to have what is very unusual, a snowstorm and really cold weather all mixed in together. So it's like Sunday morning going to CKUT will be like probably a challenge. It's going to be like minus 20 with really high winds and lots of snow. It's going to be a weird, like I said at the beginning, usually when it snows it gets warmer. But now it's going to be darn cold. It's going to be like minus 21 on Sunday and snowy and blowing snow and all. That's weird. Oh man. Mountain Valley says, out here we get red-tailed hawks. Bob says, the only solution would be to get a collar for your cat with bells or keep the cat indoors. Yeah, my cat can't stay indoors. He wants to go outdoors all the time. Mine is really an outdoor cat. If you don't let him go outdoors, he's going to like meow for 3 hours until you open the door. Yeah, maybe have little bells or something so that when he moves it makes noise. Absolutely. I was really surprised and kind of shocked when he brought back that bird. Kenwood Wood had a seal visit yesterday. Wow. Nice. What else do we have? Andrea DXer says, I've seen a kestrel during the expedition. They say it's not big, but it opened its wings and it was massive. Brian Penny, pigeons and piping plovers taste like chicken. There's a place here, Brian, not far from where I am, that the guy puts out food for the pigeons. And you know what? It actually crossed my mind. Does that guy do that to kind of catch pigeons and eat them? It kind of crossed my mind somehow. Anything's possible. Yeah. My cat goes around and goes to the neighbors. So every neighbor here knows my cat. And every neighbor just finds Paul the cat so beautiful and so nice. Even the third neighbor over there, he gave him a name because at first he didn't have his collar. And they thought he was, a lost cat or something. Until they saw him come over here. And it's like, oh, it's your cat. I said, yeah. And they had called him Socrates. I was like, wow, oh really? Okay. Danny Shortwave Radio DX. Nice to have you on board from Yonkers, New York. Pagemaster in Oklahoma, we are a bird called loggerhead shrikes, also known as the Dracula bird because the bird impales its prey on thorny sticks. Oh man, that must be like an ugly way of seeing dead birds. What else do we have? Scott Cranston, funny putting snow tires on tomorrow morning. Here you have to have him, like, I think it's 15th of November. No problem, Sheldon. And you know, if for some reason it would be really, really horrible, I'll be there anyways. I got the easy part. I go there by subway, so it's not a problem. But unless all hell breaks loose, we'll see each other on Sunday for sure. Simon Templar, nice to have you here from wet and cool Portland. Nice to have everybody here. What else do we have? Same as that's the same thing we did here, Danny Shortwave. Montreal City had released some Falcons downtown, and when that happened, boy, pigeon problem went away. I can tell you that. Make some pigeon meat pie with those pigeons. I'm not sure I want to have pigeon meat pie. By my own curiosity, I would probably taste it just because I'm curious of nature, but I'm not sure I want to, you know. Mickey Delmage, I had roast pigeon while visiting the Portuguese colony in Macau. Very tasty. Huh, interesting. See you next week, Kevin. Next show is next Friday, the 25th of January. And on Saturday, the 26th of January, we will be with the VHF UHF show. David Arden Birds, is Alfred Hitchcock in the room? Oh, man. Okay, so it seems pigeon is good. I'll have to taste that. I'll probably taste that someday. Who knows? So, we're listening to Radio Romania, 6170 and 7310. Let's check out some of these signals here. Some interesting signals showing up here on the bands, just as I'm going to refill. I should be okay, because I live in DX. I live, you know, the subway station is just at the corner of my street here. So it's, you know, a 5-10 minute walk, and I'm there. And from the subway station downtown to CKUT, it isn't that far, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's mostly the wind and the real cold weather that's probably going to be the biggest problem on Sunday morning. Simon Templar, I'm using SDR Uno with the RSB1A. Let's try RWM time signal. Richard Cook's got strong on 4996. 996, is it 4996? Don't seem to be hearing it on 4996, nor on 9996. Let's try the buzzer, 4625. I'm not hearing the buzzer on 4625. Anything else of interest here? Oh, there's some. Let's check out. Of course, there's a Kodar here. Let's check out the bottom part of 4 megahertz. There's some pirates sometimes in the bottom part of 4 megahertz. So the chirp you're hearing now is Kodar. There's some really strong 80-meter station here.
And all of that.
3958, very strong station and lower sideband.
What's up with the storm? Well, now they're saying the 9 to 12. We're in the 9 to 12 bracket, but we're still.
So 80 meters working pretty well here. So yeah, SDR Uno Simon Templar, which has become my favorite, really become my favorite, my favorite software for software-defined receivers. I really love SDR Uno. So yeah, David, absolutely. Nice to be in the city with a good subway system, absolutely. Especially in snowstorms, it's kind of cool because you just get in there and here downtown we have the huge underground city, so I can go there and if I want to spend the rest of the day Sunday out of the snowstorm, you just go I just go back on the subway and go through there's stores everywhere, and it's huge. You can walk for hours without ever going outside, and you can do your groceries, you can buy whatever, and never go out if you want. It's pretty amazing here for that. So on the days like Sunday with cold temperatures and bad weather, you just stay on the underground city. It's kind of cool. Keegan says 5,000 WWV. Where he is. Yeah, well, I can try 14996 if you want, but this time of day and this time of year, I don't expect to hear 14996. But you know what? I gotta do what I gotta try it anyway, because one of the things is that over the years of shortwave listening, and that's why I always tell everybody, tune around, regardless of you're sure you're not going to hear it, because over the years, it happened so many times that I was almost convinced that a station couldn't make it, and really be surprised at the fact that, wow, the station is actually there and listenable. So, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's pretty much the middle of the night in Russia, so that's why 14996 was not something I thought would propagate here. In the summertime at this time, it's possible, but in January, not much. Sheldon, okay, I had a request for a CIDX bulletin today from Dave Q. Cool, and copies sent, so pretty cool. And Dan Walsh, nice to have you here. CIDX Bulletin, great resource. Look forward for it each month. And I will have now, starting February, I'm having my the World of Utility column. So there's going to be really nice. I see that 15 megahertz seems to have something, so I guess WWV maybe. Check it out. Yeah. It's there. WWV coming in on 15 megahertz. So WWV on 15 megahertz, making it from Colorado. So Matt has WWVH from Hawaii in Denver. Yeah, Midnight in Moscow. That song from, so here it goes, emptying the beer. And we're already, incredible. Already almost 2 hours into the show. This is pretty amazing. It's 10:53 p.m. In North Africa. Jamal Dubois, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. And while hey, I'm appearing in Moscow. Nice to have you on board. As we're almost already 2 hours into the show. Don't forget that you can help me out with donations, paypal.me/shortwave, or you can send it to the Yahoo email that you see here if you're in PayPal and want to send me a little something. Much appreciated. And you can join 12 patrons that are giving me right now a little something every month. Patreon.com/radio and computers. And thanks for everybody that have donated. And I'm trying to reach out here to whoever never donated and has been here all the time. Why not think about a little something to help me out? Helps me maintain the equipment, maintain the shows, and hopefully everything to continue and be here every week, of course. So you're watching the Shortwave Show. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We're almost 2 hours. Pretty incredible how time flies. Just crazy. We're getting into what, 2200 hours UTC. Yes. Well, I'll have to shovel. That's for sure. I'm the official shoveler of this place here. The landlord gives me a rebate on my every month. I gives me 30 bucks off and of the rent, and in exchange I just clean the stairs and shovel in the winter time. So I'm the official shoveler of the place. So I'll have to shovel that. Take care, Matt. Nice to have you on board. We'll be recording the Behavior 9 WBCQ 7490. Playback later. I like to listen to to Alan Wiener on Friday evenings, but I'm so close to WBCQ here that I have a lot of difficulty listening to WBCQ, especially at this time of year. My best bet would be 5130, and even that often doesn't propagate here. It probably jumps over some kind of nowhere zone for WBCQ. So I don't hear it every week because I don't listen. I can't receive it every week. But I tend to like to listen to that. Hey, Johnny DXer. Nice to have you on board. You're doing well, my friend. Pretty cool. Matt Bali says I'm the official shoveler too, but no rewards other than exercise. Oh man. Yeah, WWV will ID and yeah. I'm not hearing WWVH because sometimes I hear the CD. The difference I could hear about, but not tonight. Hey Carl, nice to have you here. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they have the new antenna, rotatable antenna, and 500 kilowatt transmitter there at WBCQ. Pretty amazing. Always nice to have everybody here. So, what else do we have? Let's check out here. This is the 59th minute. What's on the 19 meter band here? That's interference. Something on the top. I'm trying to get any stations here. More interference than anything else here. There's something I gotta check out. Let's check out 20 meter band. Anything on a 20 meter band? So station on.
Yeah, well, main landing, northern part, central, or southern?
There's some activity on the. There's some activity on the bands. There's some stations. 14158. There seems to be some station that they're trying to contact. So some stations on 20 meters. Texan PL 680. There ever any shortwave broadcasts originating from Antarctica research bases? There's LR836 from base Esperanza in Antarctica, which is the Argentinian base, that is reported from time to time on 15476, I believe. I haven't seen it reported in a while now, but apparently that station is from time to time heard. And there's some broadcasts from time to time, like for example at New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, I believe, there was the special broadcast from the McMurdo Antarctic research base. That is special broadcast, like, you know, once a year or something like that. So there's a few things like that coming in, but the one that is reported the most often, and I haven't seen any reports of it in a while, is LR836. And during the 19 meter band, 15476, I've never heard that ever in my life. I've seen it reported by Glenn Hauser a few times, quite a few times, but I've never heard that here. Raymond, nice to have you here. What I think about the DX160? Realistic DX160 is an okay, you know, an old okay radio. I mean, I've never owned one, so I'm not sure of its capabilities, but you know, it must be at least decent. But they're nice, you know, and they're nice looking receivers. I like the looks of these old DX160s and these old realistic DX receivers. The program I'm using here is SDR Uno. It's running it's for the kind of the remembering, just to have a little bit of information for you guys that are new here. So my setup is, first of all, the antenna in the backyard is a sloper antenna. It's a antenna. It's like a long wire, but it has an angle, and they call it a sloper. It's 75 feet long, roughly 22 meters, roughly. East-west orientation. It is fed into a 9-1 balloon, and that is fed in a coax in the backyard that goes all through the house up to my office, which is at the opposite end of where that is coming from. So I probably have a 75 feet coax, length of coax from the back to here. That feeds the signal right now, because I have a ICOM ICRD 500 here. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can see it barely here. If you guys look here, this has been and was one of my main receivers for a long time. Right now, what I'm using, and that's what you see here, it's a SDR Play RSP1A receiver. It's a software-defined radio. And basically, this is an amazing little piece of equipment. It's a wideband receiver from 1 kilohertz to 2 gigahertz. And it is plugged through a USB port on a desktop computer that's right below, behind my chair here. And that's what you see here, running SDR Uno. And it's a Windows 7 machine. So that's the setup here. And it's noisy, but it's surprising. Still surprising what I can actually receive. Richard Cook, have you picked up BPM before? It should be possible on 10 or 5,000. I've possibly did, but I can't, say. On 10 megahertz, I've received other things than WWV at times. I know, and I know that 10 megahertz is there's the Brazil one, and I do believe I've heard BPM at some point at subtime. Yes. Absolutely, but that is it's not something I hear very often. Carl Whitman, my SDR wasn't even on. That is not a good thing. Page Master, do you keep a shortwave logbook? I used to for a while. I don't anymore. Where is it? I have it really, really close to me. Okay, we've got a return of the cat. The return of Mr. Cat is here. Come on. Want to say hi? Okay, here he goes. Here comes Mr. Cat. Come on. There we go. Hello. Here we go, Mr. Cat. We've exchanged our chairs. And the funniest thing is looking at me like if he wants me to move from my chair to give him the chair. Yeah, look at that. Come on. Come on. Come here. Hello. He doesn't know what to do. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There he goes, Mr. Cat. There you go. Mr. Cat is here and back. So, here's Mr. Cat for those that are wondering. Mr. Paul is back. He was here at the beginning, and now he's looking, and I'm pretty sure he's like saying, hey, you're sitting in my chair. That's my chair. So, he'll have it later. He'll have it later. So anyways, BPM, yeah, it's a difficult one for me, for sure. Richard, let me just go back here. Okay. Hey, Mark Schmidt from Maine, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I don't keep a shortwave logbook, Page Master, just to kind of finish on that. I used to before. Now my logbook is kind of it's a YouTube logbook. So when I listen to something unusual or something I find interesting or a new frequency, I take a video and post it on the YouTube channel. So it's kind of my logbook now. The YouTube channel has become my logbook, basically. So Keegan says, I've heard what could be BPM in the background of WWV on 5 megahertz at night here sometimes. So yeah, that's possible. Carl, do you ground your radio also? It's somewhat grounded, but it's not a really, it's not a real, big setup for grounding here. It's not really, but it is somewhat grounded to my backyard metal shed, somewhat. Jeffrey Crop, nice to have you here. Snowing up there yet? Yeah, well, we had snow today. We had, I don't know, maybe an inch. We had about an inch, something like that today. But the real snow is supposed to start tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, late afternoon, it's going to start snowing, and we're going to have snow, blowing snow, and really cold temperatures through Sunday. David Provo, what are you using for a UHF VHF antenna? I have a wideband mobile vertical. So it's one of those, vertical antennas with a magnetic base that was meant to be on a car. And it's funny because that antenna was selling for something like $45 back in 1988, 9, something like that, at an electronics store here. And one day they decided that they wanted to depart with all the antennas they had, CB antennas and scanner antennas and everything. And all the antennas across all of the store were all 99 cents until they had no more. So I purchased that antenna that I use, which is a mobile vertical, for 99 cents. And if I'd known how good it was, I would have purchased all of the stock they had, because there was probably 10 of them when I purchased one. And it's fun, and I'm lucky because in the backyard here I have a huge metal shed. So the antenna the magnetic base is on the metal shed. So it actually works great because it's counteracted, because those antennas, you need to be on a metal base. It's made to work like that. That's how the antenna works best. So by having it on a metal shed in the backyard, well, I know that it's working great, and it is working great. I'm receiving satellites, and it's just amazing. Andy Coley, what a great show. Thank you very much. And it's nice to be here and do that, for sure. Keegan, sometimes WWVH in the background. Yeah, I haven't heard WWVH a lot lately, but I often heard WWVH in the background on 15 megahertz in the evening, and I often hear it on 5,000. WWVH will be a morning signal on 5,000. Like early morning, I'll hear WWVH as well as WWV on 5 megahertz. Kimberly, K6YYL in California, nice to have you on board. Really, really nice to have you on board. As usual, in snowy and even snowier and colder Montreal this weekend. Yeah, the star of the show. James Hauser, nice to have you on board. Everybody loves Paul, I know. Kassem Hamou, nice to have you here from Algeria. Pretty cool. Bienvenue. Casey Red Dragon, hey there, nice my friend. Sheldon, take care. And yeah, have a great weekend, and we'll see each other hopefully on Sunday mornings, absolutely. If everything's okay and if the weather isn't too bad. Mark Cope, U.S. Coast Guard weather. 8764. Let's check it out. 8764. I'm not hearing anything. Let's try 6501. Unless they stopped. I don't hear anything now. I believe at 22 it's from darn it, Chesapeake, Virginia, maybe. Let me check the schedule just to make sure. 8764 at 22 UTC. EIBI space. Yes, I know you're annoyed. When his tail moves like this really fast, he's annoyed at something. Oh man. So if we look at 8764, take care, my friend. And 22. Okay, it could be. Yeah, okay, it probably ended a few minutes ago. It's the Chesapeake, Virginia one at this time. I'm just gonna let the cat out, guys. Won't be very long. Here goes Mr. Cat. And he just came to say hi. Okay. I'm gonna go back here. Here we go. Oh man. Okay, so that was the Chesapeake, Virginia one at that time, probably, that you heard there. Casey Red Dragon, weather facts on 4610. Yeah, I heard it yesterday. This is the 4610. This is the one from. It's not very strong today. I barely can hear it in the noise. That's 4610 is GYA from the UK. Ernie Turner, nice to have you on board from Australia. Yeah, you guys are really having it hot. 40-45 Celsius, slightly north of me. Nice to see Paul the Cat. VK3DET, nice to have you here, Ernie. And yeah, they've been talking about it here on several times in the news. You guys are really having it hot. Here it's really cold. It's really amazingly cold. Yeah, Carl, like it does the ground plane, absolutely. Max Edstrong, nice to have you here. And no problem with that. Page Master, one more question. Do you recommend using an active antenna on your SDR? We maybe in certain circumstances it could be, you know, like that mini whip active antenna. In some circumstances, yeah, it could be interesting to use it, but it depends on how strong the signals are where you are. One of the things with the SDR play is that it, and I've read many posts of people saying that when they use anything that makes signals really strong, it tends to overload and have a lot of difficulty with coping with signals. So I'm not sure. It depends on your setup and how strong signals are where you are. Kimberly, well, in the snow we got 8 1/4 inches of rain since Sunday. Wow, that's a lot of rain. Here we're going to have a major snowstorm this weekend probably. And what's really unique is usually when you get a snowstorm, temperatures rise. So in the past week we had really cold temperatures. It was like in Fahrenheit, we reached -10 Fahrenheit. I think it was yesterday. It's actually so cold that I have to leave a little bit of water running because I'm afraid the water is going to freeze. The water pipe's going to freeze. And this weekend, what's very unusual, like I was saying at the beginning, is that we're going to have a snowstorm, a big one, with a lot of wind. And usually temperatures rise when we have snowstorms and get close to the, you know, like 32, 30 Fahrenheit, something like that. But this time around, on Sunday, the forecast is snow and blowing snow, and the temperature -21 Celsius, which is like -10 Fahrenheit, all day Sunday. And it's going to go down to -26 Celsius next week, like Monday, something like Monday or Tuesday. And it's like, whoa. And there's going to be more snow on Tuesday or Wednesday. So in total, we're going to have more than a foot of snow, that's for sure, in the next week. Which is not unusual here. But what's unusual is having a foot of snow and it's just staying so cold. That's unusual. Keegan, 10715, station on the air, there, presumed HM01. Yeah, they often have dead air. 10715, let's check it out. Anything here? Yeah, I hear the signal. Signal's there, but nothing much. KC Red Dragon has 6175, China Rain International. Let's check it out, 6175. So pretty good signal. We have WWCR also on 6115. Richard's receiving South Korea, very weak on 6250. Pretty cool. We got some really nice DX there, Richard. Really nice. F4IDL, nice to have you here. And no problem with that. At least you can say hi. Kisera Dragon, 6338, fax coming in strong today. Yeah, that's from Boston, Massachusetts. Keegan has 10715 S5 out of 5. Wow. What else do we have? Andy Coley's got more snow here. Dan Peterson, nice to have you here. 9690, broadcast in English from 6 p.m. So Eastern Time, yeah, 2300 UT. So if you hear 9690, let's check out the signal right now. 9690 from Spain. That's still a pretty good signal from Spain here.
Porque ¿cuántas actualizaciones tiene ahí el Power según?
So if that signal stays like that, we will have some English language and French language from Radio Exterior de España in about 40 minutes time from now. Mad Radio DXer, okay, Keegan says 9690 S5 out of 5. Mad Radio DXer says snow to hit hard here in the UK for the next few days. Wow. Casey Red Dragon 6326 channel marker. Johnny DXer getting Radio Marti loud and clear on 7375. Kimberly says, wow, I have heard about leaving the water on to prevent freezing. Yeah, because here there's a problem with the design in this house. And one of the water pipes is really, really close to the exterior wall in the floor. And when it's really, you know, I've been here for 18 years. I now know that if it's not windy, it has to reach about -24 before it's going to freeze. If they say it's -24 or colder and there's no wind, okay, I'll leave the water running a little bit just to make sure it doesn't freeze. And if it's windy, like for example, it's going to be -21 on Sunday. But because of the storm, they say there's going to be like 60 kilometer per hour 60, 70 kilometer per hour winds with the snow. That means that -21 might actually freeze my pipes. That's one way of saying it. It's going to freeze my pipes. So at -21, I might actually have to leave the water running a little bit on Sunday if I don't want it to freeze, because it's going to be so windy that it's going to actually cool the pipes too much. Here, the real place where it's cold, when it's cold, it's in the kitchen. In the kitchen, it's always cold. It's like the worst place in the house for that. So imagine at -25, you know, or -20. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Keegan, 7850 CHU. Let's try CHU here. 7850, I don't think I'll hear it. I don't hear it most of the time. Nothing there. How about 3330? Yeah, 3330 is not bad. Look at that. I'll leave it on. You guys are going to be able to check your clocks and see how much difference in seconds between here and your place. So CHU Canada time signal 3330. Pretty good today. I rarely hear it so well. It's really strong tonight.
CHU Canada, UTC, 22h, 25 minutes. 22 hours, 25 minutes.
Pretty strong signal here. And by the way, you guys, I've learned something about CHU, because for the World of Utilities column in CIDX, I had to do some research, because I'm talking in February, I'm talking about Canadian utility signals. So station utility signals you can hear coming out of Canada. And I have learned that CHU Canada, you cannot technically record its time signal because it is written in law that it is actually a copyrighted thing. And I was so surprised when I read that. I was like, what? Really? It's a time signal. What the hell? So anyways, technically, we're not supposed to. Hey Calvin, nice to have you here. Donald Hosmer, those temps were for my Sunday. Here in Michigan, we are due to 2° Fahrenheit high, minus 14 Fahrenheit low. Here we'll have that plus all the snow. Keegan, 6115, WWCR is 5 out of 5. So very strong signal from Spain. David in Barcelona, minus 26 Celsius. Tonight we're at a mere plus 5 here in Barcelona. All week quite chilly to a Spaniard like me. So I really can't imagine what minus 26 might feel. All I can say is it feels cold. And yes, we do still go outside. There's nothing there. A Canadian goes outside at minus 26. Actually, one of the things that I enjoyed when I was younger, and you're going to call me nuts, was on nights when it was like minus 30 Celsius or minus 25 Celsius, is to put on my my suit and walk in the snow, because when it's really cold like that, the snow, when you walk in the snow, the sound that it makes, like a crackling, crisp sound, is very unique compared to when it's just, you know, I don't know, 0 or minus 5. And I would actually enjoy when there's no wind. It's actually quite interesting. It's quite nice to walk into that type of temperature and take a walk and just enjoy. And it's usually very calm because usually everybody's inside. And actually our Hydro-Quebec, the power company here in Quebec, has asked everybody to try to reduce our electricity, because we are taking so much electricity when it's most of Quebecers are use electricity for heating. So what happens when it's really cold is that with everything that we do in life plus the electric heating, it takes a toll on the electricity. And they were saying that I think it was yesterday morning, it was like minus 21, something like that. They said that at 8 a.m. We were using, the province of Quebec was using 35,000 megawatts. So 35,000 megawatts of electricity at 8 a.m. yesterday morning. And that, the record, I believe the record is like 38,500 megawatts that peaked when it was really cold, like 2 or 3 years ago. And the total amount of electricity available in Quebec, the limit is 41,000 megawatts. So when we reach these cold temperatures, they actually will tell us, if you can just, you know, between like 6 and 9 a.m. and between, you know, like 4 and 8 p.m., reduce the amount of electricity that you use. Try not to do the laundry during that time period, stuff like that, just to make sure that there's enough electricity for everybody. Because when we reach a certain amount, so for example, if we would reach, say, 39,000 megawatts, we're so close to the limits of what the power company can give us that they will start doing intentional, cutting the power intentionally at different places from time to time. And it happened in the past. I remember when I was a teenager, back then they couldn't do that much electricity. Since I'm a teenager, they've actually, they have more power available now. But I remember sometimes when it was really cold, they would cut off the power, like, you know, they would choose a certain sector with a certain number of people. They would cut the power for like an hour, and then they would put it back, and they would cut the power for an hour for another section, and so on, so that they would just like go around and cut the power of different areas for an hour to kind of lower the intensity of what we are, all the electricity we need, basically. I haven't had that in such a long time, though. I can tell you that. Dan Peterson says, Peterson says 6115 clear as a bell. KC Red Dragon 6326 channel marker. Yeah, that's probably. Let me just try it. 6326. Do I hear it here? I'm not hearing much on that frequency range, actually. Kimberly, cook more to keep the kitchen warmer. Well, that's what I do sometimes. You know what? When it's really cold, it's like, okay, I'm gonna cake. Okay, let's cake a bake, or like bake a cake, not cake a bake. Bake a cake or something, just to keep it, keep it warm in the kitchen. So, Dan Peterson says 6 to 8 inches of snow and 27 mile per hour winds here on Saturday. Yeah, here it's going to be like something like a foot of snow. And like 30, 40, 50 miles per hour winds. And minus 10 Fahrenheit temperatures. With the wind chill, it's going to be like minus 40. 5-second delay on the stream. Wow. That's not bad at all. Jerry, the ephedry is, I actually lent my ephedry to Fastload. He's the one using it right now. You wanted to try it out, so when he came over at Christmas, I said, "Hey, you wanna try it out? Take it with you, and when you're over with it, just bring it back." Keegan says 3330, nothing in Arkansas. Mark Cope, 0 in Texas. Man Ryu DX, the video I did of receiving 3330 CH is the only one you commented on my video, Joe. Oh, really? The thing is I am a I do watch your videos. The funniest thing is I do watch your videos, but I'm not much of a commenter. I will thumbs up the videos, but I will rarely comment on videos. Rarely comment on videos, but I do thumbs up though. So you probably have several thumbs up from me, at least. And when I thumbs up, what's nice is it shows up in some of the things that I like, so people watching my channel indirectly can see things of your channel. That's also something that I like by doing the thumbs up stuff. I need to watch more videos of you guys. Maybe that's something. If shortwave propagation isn't all that well tonight, I'll and go in my living room on my 50-inch TV and take the YouTube app and start watching some radio videos of you guys and doing some thumbs up. Richard, Casey Red Dragon says prefers WWV. Richard Cook got Pyongyang on 6400. Olivia J. Trends, nice to have you here, Olivia. CHU 3330, 3330, or 7850, also, Olivia. Casey Red Dragon, data file transfer on 10221. Carl picking up 3330 very strong in New York City. Cool. Cool. Bobby Berg is 68 going down to 64 tonight with thunderstorms. That's more of a let's go outside with a portable radio weather than Montreal. I should make a, you know what? It probably won't work. Because one of the things I would like to do, actually, like the Texan PL380, it has a temperature sensor in it, so you see the temperature. I should go outside at minus 20, and if it still works, show you guys the reception of a station at minus 20 degrees, and you guys could see in the display that it says like minus 21 or something. But I'm not sure a Texan PL 380 is going to work at minus 20. And now that I'm thinking about it, I want to do it. I don't think it's going to hurt the radio. I think it's going to be okay. It's just that the radio might stop working if it's too cold. But that could be kind of nice. I should do a video with that. Listening to shortwave in very, very cold weather outside. The Canadian way of listening to shortwave. Sitting in the snow at minus 21 and listening to, I don't know, Radio Romania or something. Page Master says, next Saturday I'll be going to Norman, Oklahoma to test for an amateur radio license. Cool. Congratulations for that, and I'm sure you're going to do well. DJ Raiders, nice to have you on board from Tulsa, Oklahoma. William Helms, nice to have you on board. No problem with being late. And it's nice to see you from Florida. Megan Almash says, remember when CHU was on 7335? Absolutely. It appears on many of my old recordings of Radio Prague in the 70s, 80s when Prague used 7330. Yeah, I remember. I also remember when some stations were on 7335 and clashing with CHU from time to time. Man, I remember. And I remember when when they actually came out with this and said, look, we got to move our frequency to kind of, you know, stay with the ITU rules and everything, you know. So and the money, I remember I don't remember how much it cost, but it cost them like a lot of money to just move from 7335 to 7850. And you know, that was a time when they actually had also kind of a moment of, okay, do we really want to, you know, spend money and still stay on shortwave on with time signal station? There was kind of a questioning there, and finally it went through. Kimberly says we all would have to be careful. It could be an extra cold winter and baking a lot. This could be a 50-pound weight gainer. But what could be interesting is that you know, you could cook stuff that you can actually freeze to eat later also, you know. But you know, like tonight I'm gonna cook some salmon in I have a recipe and it looks really, really good. I'll be cooking salmon in the oven tonight, so that shouldn't be too bad. And of course I'll have one of my, I should bring, you know, I don't know, my tube radios in the kitchen and turn them on all at the same time, listening to some AM broadcast. That's gonna like eat up the kitchen. Calvin, you'll need a woman to keep you warm in that cold, Jill. Yes. Unfortunately. William Helms, Wolf Moon on East Coast Sunday night. Yeah, with the lunar eclipse. For anybody that doesn't know, there's a total lunar eclipse visible across all of North America Sunday night. So you guys better watch that. It's going to be visible everywhere across North America, like late in the evening. On the East Coast, it's like starting at something like 11 p.m. or something. I'm trying to remember the times, but if you have some clear skies, there's nothing cooler than sitting down with a shortwave radio or any amateur radio gear, if that's what you like, and watching the eclipse and tuning the bands on shortwave is kind of fun. I've done that several times, and it's just so cool. Watching a celestial event happen in front of you while you're tuning the bands. It's kind of just so nice. Brian Penny, only 1 to 2 inches of snow here in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Benefits of living 50 miles out in the ocean. Yeah, here's going to be probably a foot of snow. You know, and they're not sure yet, because if that storm is just a little more to the north, we might end up with 2 foot of snow instead of 1. You know, and it's crazy. And it's very, very small. They were saying that storm, if it moves just 50 miles north of where they're tracking it right now. We're going to have a hell of a lot of snow, much more than what they're saying right now. So it's kind of interesting. We're going to see that on Sunday. F4IDL says, okay, I was trying to read as I was listening, but the book fell towards my face. Time to sleep. Take care, my friend. Hey, Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Jason, KJ5 VHD, nice to have you on board. What do we have? Casey Red Dragon, is that link on 12120? I believe around there. This is radio teletype. Yeah, that's radio teletype. This is a form of radio teletype, but I believe on 12120 it's encrypted. It's an encrypted signal. Yes, Mad Radio DXers, I'm the one from Canada giving thumbs up on your videos. Nick Mayakovsky, nice to have you here. 3330 CHU, about 2 out of 5 in Nova Scotia. I noticed the 9-second tone is split each minute. Yeah, they have like this pattern for the time signal stuff. Kimberly says, sadly, my last video upload on my YouTube channel was for my brother's funeral. Oh, that's so sad. Service and reception around the middle mark of a video slideshow of friend of my brother's made that we played. Oh, that is sad. That is sad. Casey Red Dragon got some slow scan on 14230. Let's try it out, but I don't usually hear much at this time of night here. Nothing much happening on that. 14230. Keegan says, I remember when CHU was on 7335 before moving to 7850 in 2009. Yep. Hey McGlone, nice to have you here. 67 Fahrenheit degrees in Northport, Florida. And here it's minus 67 Fahrenheit in Canada. Well, not that cold, but it's pretty cold. Mike B, nice to have you on board, my friend. James Hauser, it used to be 67 here once, many months ago. Yeah, same here. We actually had 90s here in like 6 months ago. It's crazy. There was somebody posting a picture and stating that it's just amazing when you think about it, that in, I don't remember what city in Russia, it was like minus 56 degrees, and in whatever city in Australia it was plus 46 Celsius. And the guy posted, can you imagine that in 2 different places on Earth, more than 100 degrees difference is mind-boggling? And you're like, yep, it is mind-boggling. I mean, just look, 67 Fahrenheit in Florida, and I'm sure in the south of Florida it's like in the 70s, close to 80s maybe. And if you take that, it's, let's round it up, 70 on Sunday in Florida, okay, 70 Fahrenheit in Florida, and they'll be here in Montreal about minus 10 Fahrenheit on Sunday. We're not that far apart. I mean, when you look at the world as in general, we're not that far apart. Yet, we will be 80 degrees difference in the temperature. Keegan says, I remember hearing the announcement of CHU moving 7850. Yes, well, 10 years ago. It is incredible how time flies. Absolutely. I'm amazed the same. I'm amazed. Richard Cook's got propagating of 9996 of RWM. Richard in Atlanta, nice to have you on board. Can you hear music on 6925 lower side beams? 6925. Nope. Nothing. Nothing on 6925 at all. What's that noise on 14670? Well, usually 14670 there's a beep beep of CHU Canada. David, Gilles, you may or may not know that would a typical portable such as a PL660 still be able to operate normally when exposed to the outside at temperatures of -20 to -30 range? Okay, technically, I know it's outside of the range of what it should be when it operates. So I don't know if you've seen, often electronics will, if you look at the manual, in the specifications, they'll give you temperature ranges of a lot of devices. And so a lot of devices will show you that when it's in use, they're going to say like anywhere from 0 to 30 or 40 Celsius. When it's not in use, then the range is really bigger. So a radio typically at -30 degrees Celsius, if it's not operating, should be okay when it's back to room temperature. Now, the operating temperature is different because it changes the values of everything. And very cold temperatures have a dramatic effect on electronics. So being at -20 or -25, electronics, the value of the parts are going to change really dramatically. Then you'll have, just going to -20 range, the electrons are moving slower. So even the battery giving power, everything is just not operating in the same range that it should usually. I don't know if you've ever seen an LCD. I have. Here in Canada, we've seen that many times, but an LCD freezes below a certain temperature. So if you're at -20, for example, I've got, so this thermometer here, this electronic thermometer, it has a transmitter outside right now. The transmitter outside has an LCD. So if I'm outside and I look at it, it's going to tell me the temperature. The problem is LCD freezes. So when you are at -20, the LCD display isn't working anymore. So if I bring out, for example, the Texan PL380, what I expect is that it's going to turn on, it's going to receive, but the LCD display will not display the frequency I'm tuning. But I would expect a PL380 to still operate. I don't think that at -8, I'm going to try it. You know what? Sunday I'm going to have to try that. I'm too curious now. I'll take maybe not the PL380. I'll take something that I don't really care that if something happens, it's just gonna blow up. But maybe the PL380 anyways. Anyways, at room temperature is going to come back to normal. You know what? What is probably the biggest problem at bringing it back home will be to make sure that I remove the batteries, because there could be condensation on the radio and on the circuit. So maybe remove batteries, bringing it in from -30 to +20 in my home. I know it's technically out of the range of its normal operations. But I would say that a typical shortwave portable, apart from the LCD display freezing at -20, -30 range, I would think it's still going to work, personally. Yeah, I never hear anything on 14670, but normally it's CHU on 14670. As a Spaniard, I really don't have any way to know that. I exposed mine to around -3 Celsius in the second QDH in the countryside, and its non-temperature compensated SSBBFO drifted quite a bit. It really goes. It really does a major difference when you start getting to very low temperatures, for sure. Another thing that might actually happen could be the pots, the different controls getting frozen and stiff from very, very cold temperatures. Richard in Atlanta, Georgia says 6925, lower sideband, now slow scan TV. Carl, what about WTWW5085? Yeah, they're playing a lot of music lately. 5085. Not hearing anything right now. I don't know if they're on, but I'm hearing Radio Vanny Q1 5040. Radio Rebelde with some music on 5020. Oh, look at that. I'm hearing WRMI on 5010. Are you guys hearing talking on 5,000 kilohertz? I'm not hearing WWV, but I'm hearing somebody talk on 5,000 kilohertz. At the same time as I'm hearing WWV in the background, but there's somebody talking on 5,000 kilohertz. Yeah. Somebody's talking on 5,000 kilohertz, and I hear WWV in the background. It seems like Spanish. 5,000 kilohertz, upper sideband. It looks like Spanish. No, I'm not going to bring out my R8500. Don't worry. Yeah, -10. Below that, it doesn't display anything. Oh, the Grande S450 DLX. Yes, Keegan. That would be a nice one. But I will not bring my R8500 out. That's for sure. Not at -30. Keegan's got 9555 WRMI. Pretty good signal. Dave Todd, we do instant pot ribs too. So fast and good. Nick Mayakovsky, can you damage an LCD if you push current through it while frozen? No, I don't think so. If you keep the limits of the electricity, I don't think it will damage the LCD. I think that, you know what, I still have it, I think, here. So when I went to college, I think it's here. I gotta check it out. I haven't checked it out in such a long time. I'm not even sure it still works. When I was in college, I have... Is it here? It's here! Look at that, guys. This thing is... So we're in 2019. This thing is 30 years old. So look at that, guys. This is my Texas Instrument scientific calculator when I was in applied sciences in college, which of course still works. So this, I went through college with this, and so this thing cost, you guys, you know today how cheap things are. Today something like this will cost you, I don't know, 20 bucks, and it's going to do even more than this does. This cost $95 in 1989. $100 And I had to have this because I was in applied sciences, so I had to have the scientific calculator. But anyways, the story behind it is that this thing was left many times in winter outside in my backpack for school. And I remember that the display here often would be frozen when it was like -20, and I would tap and nothing would appear, or whatever would appear here would kind of stay stuck at whatever was there, even though you change everything. But when it thaws, when it comes warm again, it comes back working normally. So I don't think it damages the LCD display. It just freezes while it's really cold, comes back to normal when it's actually in regular temperatures. So you're looking at my $100 Texas Instrument, the TI-36 Solar. That has, and I believe it does, so it probably has it inside. This was a dual thing. Yeah, there's a little battery compartment in the back. So there was a solar, but if you had absolutely no light, now you see the battery's dead. It's actually fading off when I put the hand on it. It actually had a battery backup. So if you had no light, it would still work, but with wow, this reminds me of, well, it's heavy for the time, but it's made out of metal. Today they're all made of plastic. Wow, this brings me back to when I was in college 30 years ago. A young guy I was a young guy that wanted to rule the world, pretty much. Keegan, nothing on 5085. Music on 6925 upper sideband. Richard in Atlanta, Georgia says. Kiss the Red Dragon 11175 Air Force Letter Station. Yeah, the emergency action messages. Mark Brando says 6925, good copy in Wisconsin. Keegan says recently I've heard WTWW as early as the afternoon here. Yeah, I have also. I actually heard it. I think it was yesterday afternoon. It was like, I was surprised to actually hear it. Hey, Brian Penny says 5,000 kilohertz, and yes, it's definitely Spanish. Okay, so I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Wow, WWV QSL in 2 days. That's fast. David says, thanks, I guess so low temperatures mess up with component values. Also, LCD freezes, as you said. I guess the best then is to use a radio with analog tuning. Yeah, probably. Maybe I should bring both. And bring an analog one and like the Texan PL's 380 or something. Mike says many rigs use LCDs, so I don't think you could damage them. No, they're not going to damage, but they will stop working below a certain range. And I mean, if LCDs were damaged, I mean, cars today only have that. They have, like, you know, all sorts of LCD stuff. So I mean, imagine a car here in Montreal where you leave it outside at -25 Celsius, you know. Oh really, Jerry? You got the same calculator? You remember how much you paid for it back then? I remember $100 for this thing. That's crazy, crazy. TI-36. Dave Todd says, I think the voices on 5000 are upper sideband, but are understandable because of WWV carrier. It's possible. Mickey, I have one of those TI calculators somewhere around here. Muglon have one too. Wow, they sold a lot of them. My first calculator, and I wish I would have it today, was a Commodore calculator. The same company that made the Commodore 64 computer. And it had little red LEDs. not and you know, those red numbers, and it would use a lot of battery, and that was a scientific calculator. And my mom had bought that for me when I was, I think, going into high school. I had a calculator. It was crazy. A Commodore calculator. Was brown. I remember it was brown. And I must still have it somewhere, but I don't know where. So let's check out Radio Estéreo de España.
From 1936
in English. 9690, Spain in English.
European powers, with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy providing essential material, military and ideological support for Franco, and the Soviet Union backing the loyalist Republican cause. Democracies such as Britain and the United States opted not to get involved in the Spanish conflict, so that only volunteers from these countries and others took part in the fighting, with the largest grouping comprised of anti-fascists in the International Brigade.
So Radio Exterior de España 9690 in English. What satellites can you decode signals from? Many of them. There's amateur radio satellites. Some have slow scan TV, KC Red Dragon. You can also, and I've actually been trying to do this week, you can also use a piece of software called Satellite to Image, and you can decode the weather charts or the weather images coming from the NOAA weather satellites on the 137 megahertz KC Red Dragon. Mad Radio DX, I had my old car some years ago parked in the field during cold and snowy weather. The LCD screen on my stereo had a bit of a permanent damage, black ink. Interesting. Maybe back then it wasn't, maybe it's different today, I don't know. Richard says 9690 weak, 2 week here. Keegan says 9690 strong, it's 5 out of 5. So, we're talking of some old times here. It's nice to hear Spain in English. JD 9690 very strong in Prince Edward Island. Nice to have you on board, JD. So we have Spain in English. At in 30 minutes, it's going to be in French for those that understand French. So it's nice to hear Spain back in English. It's a lot of fun to have that. So Spain in English.
Enlisted by Franco to support Hitler's troops on the Eastern Front.
We're talking about World War II times.
Which had a permanent contingent of over 22,000 men. Of them, 5,954 died during the war. Their families received pensions and recognition by the dictatorship, which treated the veterans of the División Azul as heroes. However, after Hitler's defeat, the Franco regime sought to revise its history, diminishing the visibility of its fascist ties to prepare its future relations with the United States. Historian Jean-Marie Thomas has found evidence that the Franco regime had wanted to join the Axis powers since 1939. The historian notes that as soon as France had fallen in 1930, Franco did everything he could to offer Hitler Spain's entry into the war.
But what is new, what we know now, is that in October of 1939...
So 9690. Hey Volodya, nice to have you here. From the real Vancouver Island DXer 73 to you in Montreal. Spain just barely audible in Victoria, British Columbia. Nice to have you on board, my friend. That'd be interesting, KC Red Dragon. Those ghost satellites are difficult. You need a low noise amplifier and all of that to get these satellites. Mad Radio DX, my car now has a more modern screen for the stereo, so I wonder if it is less vulnerable to cold weather damage. Probably. I would think that they've improved everything now. Richard says 9690 improving now. Nick Mayakovsky, 9690 strong here in Nova Scotia. So it was PEI. Pretty cool. Nice to it's nice to hear their. I like sometimes when they do these history stuff where you learn more about how each country coped in ancient times. Like Radio Romania often has times when they were in the communist era and how things were. With Spain now talking about the Franco era and the World War II times, where imagine all the things that would have been interesting to pick up back in World War II on radio, all the communications and all this stuff. David says, yay, nice to hear Radio Exterior España in English over shortwave again. Love it. Yes, it is nice. Richard Cook's got Romania 9620 English, strong. Is it there here? Can I see it in the display? 9620 on my display has nothing. When I look at the waterfall. So this is kind of cool, actually. Kind of cool. So, hey guys, we've been on for 3 hours. I'm going to take it easy for the rest of the night. I want to do some radio listening. And I need to cook my food because it doesn't cook itself. I want you guys to take it easy. Hope you enjoyed today's show. I will, of course, post one last time the stuff. If you want to help me out, paypal.me/shortwave. Or the Yahoo email that you see here helps me tremendously going through the months and paying for the equipment and everything. You want to become a patron on patreon.com /radio and computers, where you can join 12 patrons giving me a little something every month. I want to thank you so much, everybody, for being here. KC Red Dragon, iridium signals are encrypted, so without having the proper encrypted or encryption keys, there's nothing you can do. 73 Johnny DXer, thank you very much. W3 JMC Clear, and it's pretty cool to have you guys here as usual. I'm actually going to bring a portable shortwave with me in the kitchen and listen to Spain, which should make it even on a little telescopic antenna, honestly. And I will now go and cook salmon and some salad and have like a nice little dinner tonight. So thank you, Brian Penny. Nice to have you on board. And I'll be happy. Yes, I'll be there on the International Radio Report on Sunday. CKUT, 1530 UTC. Thanks everybody for being here, being great fans. It's always nice to have all of you here. And so next week, tomorrow no shows. Next week, 2 shows. Friday, January 25th, 2000 hours UTC. And Saturday, January 26th, VHF UHF show, 2000 hours UTC on the other channel. Thanks everybody for being here. Richard Cook's got a strong voice of Korea on 7570. Take care, my friends. Love you all. Stay safe, please. And thanks for everything. Without you guys, there would be no show. So take care, my friends.